I tried Path of Exile and this is how it went. I wanna lay some groundwork here. I have no experience with games like Path of Exile, the games where you move your character with your mouse. Actually, I have played Baldur's Gate, but Baldur's Gate is very different from Path of Exile. Saying this, I have already played Path of Exile for 60 hours. For some people, that's a lot, but 60 hours is nothing compared to the playtime some of these players have. When I looked at some of these, I almost wanted to ask them if everything was okay. For my starting class, I chose Witch. Because why not? My Steam name is Mage and I wanted to do some magic stuff. After choosing my class, the game asked me to choose between different modes of the season. There was a standard, there was this middle one, and there was hardcore. I'm guessing hardcore is permadeath and standard is easy, and so I took the middle one. I have no idea what solo self found is, so if any experienced player is watching this video, then please tell me what this means. So I chose the normal difficulty and I booted the game. I woke up on an island. Now I don't have any story knowledge, but I'm guessing I am the exile and I have done something that got me exiled here. So from the start I'm invested in my character because my character looks like a 25-year-old lady, a witch, and she's level 1. So that means she has achieved nothing in her life, just like me. So I'm invested in her. I found a gem called Fireball and I see a person next to me get killed by a zombie. So I take care of the zombie and I move on. Later I found a support gem, and now how do I know that these gems are support skills? I will tell you that just in a moment. But for now I was fighting this boss. Now this boss fight was kinda slow, so I would bait him into doing an attack and move behind him and attack him. And this strategy alone was enough to defeat him. So after defeating this guy, I moved on to Lionai's Watch. And there I met Nessa, Bestel, and this warrior guy called Darkly. And then I opened my stash. And I got a really happy surprise. Remember I told you I will explain how I knew about skill gems and support gems? This is the reason why. Before playing as a witch, I made a warrior character and I made most stupid decision on that character because while I was playing as a warrior, I didn't know anything about the game and I wanted to do everything. I wanted to cast spells, I wanted to do dexterity stuff, and I was already doing the strength stuff. So I wasted skill points in reaching those constellations, and that was a really stupid move. So I kinda messed up my character and in frustration I deleted it. When I opened up my stash and I saw the items that warrior character has stashed, I was really happy and really excited at the opportunities. To me, this almost felt like, you know, when your grandpa leaves you a watch or something. This is what it felt like to me. And now I knew that if I found an item that was really good but is of no use to me, I can stash that and use that on another character. So for skills I took Kinetic Bolt and this support skill that does random elemental damage. I wanted to make a lightning character, but at this point I didn't know that Kinetic Bolt is not lightning. I assumed that since Kinetic Bolt is blue, it is lightning for some reason. And Nessa asked me to recover some medicinal chest. So I moved on from Lionai's Watch and entered this area. Here I met a really hot lady. I died to her a couple of times and then I learned the patterns. I kited her and chipped away at her health patiently and I eventually defeated her. Then I kept moving and kept fighting mobs, zombies. A small correction, these are not zombies. These are undead people, by the way. These are people who are coming back to life for some reason. Zombies are different. The difference between a zombie and an undead is if a zombie bites you, you turn into a zombie. But if an undead like these guys bites you, you just die. But I think at least with zombie you live for some time. I don't know which one is better. Then I found a waypoint and went back to Lionai's Watch and sold the items that were of no use to me. And for some reason everyone was telling me to go to Mudflats. So I made a quick trip to Tidal Island and here I met a really cool guy. And he knew that I had just fought a hot lady. So he started sending me popsicles. And he even dropped a medical chest after I properly thanked him. So I went back to Lionai's Watch. After giving Nessa her medical chest, Darkly asked me to clear the ferret pool. So I moved on to Mudflats and here I found these weird creatures. Imagine if a turtle and an ostrich had a baby. This is what I imagine it would look like. And these creatures even lay eggs. So I guess the analogy makes sense. You know, after cracking their eggs, they drop these keys which open the submerged passage But next to the submerged passage area, there was also an entrance to the ferret pool. Now, if any experienced player is watching this, tell me how do I resolve this issue? Because after I cleared the ferret pool area and I killed the necromancer there, Darkly didn't give me any reward. Darkly didn't mention ferret pool again for some reason. He just moved on and gave me another quest to kill some crab. I had no choice but to accept it. So I moved on to the submerged passage, and I forgot to mention, but I found these dark dungeon like areas in which mobs are really hard, and I don't want to flex, but I died really quickly. I died really quickly in the mudflats one, and I died really quickly in the submerged passage one. And if you die once in these areas, you cannot enter again. So I continued to explore the submerged passage, and I have to give props to the developer and the music artist on this one, because in this dungeon I found what is probably the best piece of music I have heard in this game as of yet. I am a sucker for haunting melodies. I love the Bloodbound soundtrack. I love that particular song from Witcher 3 where he hunts the vampire girl. I think this one is probably my favorite. I like this shit. But I had a crab to hunt, so I moved deeper into this dungeon and I made quick work of this crab. And at this point I have learned the patterns. At every level there is this dark dungeon area and there is a waypoint. After killing the crab, I move on to another area called the ledge. So I enter the ledge, and here the game introduces another type of mob, these goatmen and these leech looking guy. For some reason, if you hit them really hard, they get on their knees and start cuffing for some reason. So I felt bad about hitting them. For this level, I found the linear design to be quite unique. Then I entered this battlefield like area where the game introduced yet another mob, which were these goatmen and they're dead, these skeleton archers and they're dead, and these wheel skeletons, which reminded me of Dark Souls and Berserk. If you don't know what Berserk is, you should definitely check that out. I messed around in this area quite a bit and I leveled up, and here I bought this holy relic which for some reason only worked with kinetic bolt. By this point I am starting to realize that kinetic bolt is not actually lightning skill, so I exchange it with a spark, and then I find out that this holy skill does not work with the spark, it only works with kinetic bolt. I wish the game was more clear about this, because at this point I'm using non-compatible gems for quite a while. And then I find the prison. After finding the waypoint in the prison, I made a quick trip to Lionel's Watch, and there everyone was telling me about this guy called Brutus and how dangerous he is, and everyone was hyping him up, and I was kinda scared and I needed just a little more experience to level up. So I decided to go to the dungeon, and I cleared the dungeon without dying, and I leveled up and I got this lightning skill. When I entered the Brutus area, there was blood marks on the ground. They kind of led me to him. The boss fight was surprisingly easy. I think the dungeon area was harder than the Brutus boss fight, but the boss fight was quite fun actually. It is just that everyone was hyping him up too much and I kind of overestimated him. So in this boss fight I used Spark with 2 lightning gem supports. I had Kinetic Bolt with prismatic elemental sort of support. The Kinetic Bolt was synergizing with Holy Relic, so I was getting some regen off of that. Then I used Orb of Storms for some sort of automatic damage, and I had really big life and mana flasks, and I had this movement speed flask that was really useful for me in this boss fight, and this is where I'm at right now. Now the things that I really like about this game. First of all, the stash thing. I love it. If you find an item that is of no use to you but it is really good, you can stash that item and have another character use that item. My guess is that it only works in a season and it does not work across season. The second thing that I really like is how many skills there are in this game. Now the third thing is the skill tree. The skill tree is massive. When you connect nodes and you reach like level 20, level 25, it looks like a constellation in the sky. Now from my little research I have found that there are more skill trees. One is called Atlas and another one is for map or something. I don't know how do I unlock those. Do I have to pay for them? I don't know. The fourth thing that I really like is the mob variety. I have been to like 7 to 9 different areas and I have found a unique mob in each one of those areas. Another thing that I really like is the music. The submerged passage music is still ringing in my ear. I loved it. overall I really like the game. Now there are some negatives here. So first of all, there was no character creator. Personally I think a character creator just makes the experience more personal, but that's my opinion. Second, the game does a really sloppy job at explaining some basic and important things. Like, I was 15 hours in my first character when I realized the purpose of the link between the gem sockets. If you are using a support gem and there is no link between the gem sockets, you are just wasting space at that point. And another thing that I don't like is how there is no thing for resetting skill points in this game. I messed up my last character and that is 30 hours down the drain. But as human beings, we learn through failure, and I learned that I needed to follow a build. So I looked up a lightning build, but I'm still kinda salty about messing up my last character. And I went to the subreddit of this game. It felt like everyone was talking in a different language than me. I need a diploma in Path of Exile to understand those guys. So this was my Path of Exile experience, and overall I would say I really like the game and I'm gonna keep playing it. And thank you guys for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you like the video, and see ya.